Okay. Thanks for coming along, everybody. 6th of August. Open Source Antibiotic Series 2. I think lots of things are in progress at the moment. So I just wanted to sort of catch up and make sure we're not missing anything and make sure everyone's on the same page about where we are and what we're doing. Because it's August and people are on vacation. And so this is probably our last August meeting while things are chugging along in the background. Unless something important happens and we want to call a quick meeting, but I don't think we need some for a while. The main reason why we didn't get together last week, were these results that came through from Paul, where we had some interesting data back for MSSA, but the MRSA results were a little bit off in the sense that the control compound gave nothing, so gave inactivity. And so I think that we're going to have to, so I asked Paul if he could redo that assay, and he said, no problem. It's just that as with most other people, he's on vacation for a bit. So we'll get to this at the beginning of September. So we have a bit of a delay there.
Do you think it would be worth adding on other compounds? Because I think Ed's been making some new stuff, yeah?
Oh, definitely, possibly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess I just mean that we can't conclude anything from the data, unfortunately.
No, we'll have to at least we'll get all the data in one big chunk. We'll get data in one big chunk from new and old compounds alike.
Yeah. So yeah, if we have anything else, for sure. I mean, we're obviously interested in these compounds, and we want to. So if the MSSA data are anything to go by, then there are some actives in here. I guess that's one thing. But it's impossible to conclude.
We know from last screen that it's okay to put a methoxy on the pyridine. We know that. So 1007 is probably accurate. We know that putting it on the core isn't great, but putting it on the pyridine is accepted.
Yep. So so we have to wait, unfortunately. But anything comes in the meantime, we can add it, I'm sure. I think there was I think Paul mentioned to me there was a small change in his MRSA assay, that he recently bought in something, and I forget what it is, sorry. So there is a change that could explain why the data don't quite work for MRSA in this case. So he's very happy to redo it.
I wonder if it's like albumin, if it's like binding to albumin or something.
Yeah, I can dig it out, but I just can't remember right now. But it's not as if it's identical to last time. So I think there's a reason. Okay, so that's what we have to do, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. And then the other compounds have gone to DNDi. So Dana shipped those a few days ago, right? So they have gone for testing against the other pathogens, which is great. So I guess
we received a package yesterday for that as well.
You did?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, fine. Oh, so it's gone via you. Sorry, I completely didn't clock that. Yeah. So it's going via you guys and then in. Is that right?
I think so. At least part of the packages, yeah.
Okay, fine. Got it. And again, that's going to take a little while, I guess. And so, we'll have those results waiting for us when we next have a meeting. But that's good.
Typically that assay takes about 6 weeks for a turnaround for us.
Okay.
I assume Leishmania is pretty slow growing.
I don't know what the pipeline is like either. So, okay, and then Alex is still working on the talks, and I will catch up with her to see how that is going, because we need that for our paper in whatever form. And then I was just going to mention one other thing briefly, which is the mechanism of action stuff. Lee is on the case and is, I think, searching for the relevant compounds that we need to run those experiments. And just correct me if I'm wrong, but sorry, I'm just bringing it up now because there was a comment, I think, from him about whether they have enough compound, and he said something like he hasn't got any compound left, but he thinks he might be able to get some from some other team member from Tim Wilson's group. So we just got to chase that. That was a few days ago. So I think we've just got to make sure that he has enough so that he can run those experiments. He has the funding, and he has, I think, the person to do it. So he's just got to make sure it's scheduled in good time. I checked on the grant status over there, and there's still money left for him to cover these experiments. So we're in good shape for that. All right, and then just on the chemistry. So Giada he has those 2 compounds in the Mercer evaluation and is finished in the lab. There were some other molecules there that we could make in theory. If we see activity there, then we might want to continue to push those with the variation in the northwest position with amines up in that position. And then I think that Ed, you were done with compounds that you were making for this series. There's nothing else in the pipeline here.
No, I have just 3 new ones.
Right.
They're done.
Okay. 3 new ones that are to go in.
Yeah.
Right, in the next round, so we can add those to the current shipment, right, to Paul, right. And then Dana was doing the 1 parts. Hi, Dana.
Hi, sorry,
and
lost track of time.
Don't worry. We were just saying that along with the re-evaluation of the compounds in Paul's assay, that we can add in any other compounds that are coming. Would that include some from your 1 pots? Is there more coming through there?
So I still haven't received my isocyanide. Potentially a few more, although it looked like the ones that I sent Paul this past time were active based on the MSSA data. But I think I'm gonna maybe reevaluate once that starting material comes in. And
there was another possible compound I posted about maybe another chord change could be done. There's a precursor that's not that expensive, 2-amino pyrazine and 6 another nitrogen on the core. If you scroll down, you should see it on the.
I'll come to that in 1 second. I want to clarify here which ones were. Sorry, I should know this, and I can't remember which were the ones that you stuck in here, Dana.
It was 8, 9, and 10.
8, 9, and 10. Yeah, right. These guys.
Yeah. One thing I think that maybe we should do is the match pair to 1002 just with the methyl. I don't think that's actually been tested, and a lot of our compounds kind of match back to that. So I was going to look at making a bit of that. Unless, Quillen, you have some at NEU. I mean, I assume that you guys would have made that compound, but
yeah, I've got 100 mgs on the bench. I can just send you some.
Oh, okay, perfect.
That's convenient.
Yeah. I was just looking through, and I noticed that we didn't actually have that, just the methyl, which I think, in terms of publication would be good as a benchmark.
Right.
Yeah, just for the full picture, we've just got the ADME for that compound back. It's equally metabolized as the actual methyl, so the isotope didn't help with the overall metabolism. Something we did observe, though, is about a 10-fold improvement in the selectivity. So it's significantly less cytotoxic to the host cell.
That's interesting. Versus the methyl.
Yeah. I'd expect it to be a little bit less lipophilic, based on sort of the size as well as the sort of the deuterium effect on lipophilicity, but not to the extent that we saw.
What happens if we? Wonder if it'd be? I posted this almost a year ago. We have a compound where there's like a bromine on the 6-membered, the 5-6 core. If we pop that off, put deuterium on there, that'd be interesting. Like deuterium on the core, replacing a halogen. Like 1 yeah.
It's only important if it's involved in a rate determining bond breaking step.
That's interesting.
Likely the whole core is probably getting shredded, right?
But I don't know. That's interesting. I'm just trying to
so that's why we looked at putting it on for the N-methyl, because it's obviously a known metabolic liability in the series.
But in this case, it doesn't seem to be.
It could honestly just be that there's other more highly metabolized components of the molecule, and we're still just looking in the weeds. So we may have knocked down one mole and another one popped up.
Right.
So how do you rationalize the difference in toxicity, you said?
No real answer is the truth behind it. Like maybe you could say that in the actual host cell itself, there was some metabolism and there was a toxic metabolite forming that isn't forming with the deutero compound via the N-methylation. But that's very hand-wavy and we have no evidence behind it.
Yeah. You could imagine some kind of aminimide or something like that, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly right. Especially with the long incubation times, but no evidence behind it, and it'd be very hand-wavy to say that.
Okay. And then, so while we're looking at this, Anthony, you had an example of another pyridine nitrogen that you were suggesting here, right?
It's not that expensive. It's like 20 GBP for like 20 grams. It's like $1 a gram, like $2 a gram maybe.
What's that supposed to check? So we've done the pyrimidine version.
Oh, we have?
Yeah.
I thought we had a benzodiazole there though that was killing potency.
No, so with the benzodiazepine, it's still got activity, doesn't it?
Ed, can you post the comparator compound down here somewhere so that we can evaluate?
Yeah.
And would you be interested in that core with the direct C linkage, or would you like it by the N-alkyl, like 4-fluorophenol?
I mean,
the N-alkyl, the nitrogen linkers seem to be better.
Yeah.
If that's the case, once again, I've got about every single positional analog of the nitrogen in that core. I've already made with the 4-fluorophenol. So if you're interested in those, just let me know, and I could do the isobutyl alkylation to the entire suite.
Wow.
That's good.
Or even N-methyl or N-ethylation to save your time, because it seems like there's probably a way to.
No difference in time between the N-methyl and the N-isobutyl.
Purification.
In fact, if anything, the N-isobutyl is much easier to make. It's easier to purify.
Oh wow.
That'd be useful, yeah.
We can do this without, because it's already there, so we don't have to order. No one has to order anything then.
So the nitrogen isomers of this ring, right, is what you're talking about. The position
that's right.
of this ring, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So the compound derived from 2-aminopyrazine.
And pyrimidine. And
okay. That is interesting. Just to see what we could do with that, just offline, Dana, would you just mind talking to Quillen about the availability of those materials and just checking what we can do with those? That'd be really handy. And then maybe posting something here about what we can then access by working with Quillen on those molecules. That's really interesting. Yeah, okay. And then the last thing, there was just the comment from Laurie, who couldn't join us today, about these compounds that we were talking about previously. The bottom of here. So yeah, no, not these. Sorry. I guess I assume she's talking about these compounds here, where the idea was to put on the alkyl group. And I think you were saying that in order to do that, you guys would need to resynthesize some of the core, and we would just need to discuss whether that was still an aim. Have I got that right, or have I?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I wasn't involved with this original discussion about which compounds were selected for you. So when I went and had a look at our stocks of these, I think the original plan, these were meant to all be in stock, but several of them aren't,
okay.
Or at least not enough to push through to the final compound. So I was asking about the 3,5 difluoro, for example. Was that something you were interested in, or was it just by chance that we were meant to have it on stock?
I think it was by chance, right? We've tried the para, yeah.
So from our point of view, it makes just as much sense to make the 4-fluorophenol and save down on making multiple different compounds.
Yeah.
So I think Laurie was just sort of getting at were the components of this that were truly interesting to you, or was it out of convenience? And if it's out of convenience, assuming we're going to have to resynthesize some of these, if there anything that you're more interested in that can fit in with the SAR that you're of your program, let us know, because it's just the same amount of effort's going to be put in. So why not make more impactful compounds?
Aren't in stock. Like the bottom 3, the methoxys are useful. Like, I suppose, because we've seen an effect with the methoxy on the pyridine, and the cyclopropyl also looks good, but we probably only want 4-fluorophenol. We don't need the difluoro. I mean, because that's just going to be unneeded log P, isn't it?
At this stage, the main thing was to explore the alkylation of the nitrogen, because that was giving us the most promising data. I mean, that was pretty much as far as we got. And so I think the idea was to try and add on the same group to the nitrogens here, whilst exploring the rest of the core to see if we could, combine potency associated with the N-alkyl and other bits of the molecule. And because they were available, we thought, well, this would be a good place to go. But we didn't go much further than that. It was more about exploring the N-alkyl. So whatever is least effort in terms of resynthesis would make sense.
Okay. Well, assuming I'm already teeing up with Dana to discuss some of those core modifications anyway, I can let her know what we have on hand immediately now, and we can sort of talk offline about that.
Okay.
If you post like a thread in like a day or two, that would be really good. We can all sift through it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. I mean, yeah. It's I guess, just trying to generating data on these NH compounds is just less desirable than the N-alkyl, and that was the reason. We just wanted to try and populate the SAR a little bit more. So yeah, don't want you to have to synthesize a bunch of things when only a smaller number.
What happened to the commercially ordered amides?
Oh yeah, I assume they're still coming, right? Any updates?
I haven't heard anything. I can email the guy that I can follow up.
Okay, that would be good, because those who go in the next poll assay.
Yeah,
which would be good if they come in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, I think that was pretty much everything. We don't have Flavio on the call, right, to tell us how the homology series is going, because that would be really nice too if he was able to ship those in the next couple of weeks. I will catch up with him offline to see how that's going and whether we could expect something. Should be very convenient. I'll also try and do this newsletter that's been on me for ages during my research break. Okay, was there anything else anyone wanted to mention or that we should be planning for the next few weeks? I think we still need this crucial SAR data and all the molecules that we're talking about, and we still need the MOA results from Lee. And these are priorities for this month during the vacation time. Anything we've forgotten to mention, or anything that's important we should be mentioning? No, all good. Okay, well, great. I think we will have a few weeks off, and we can discuss online, and then have first meeting back. I think at the beginning of September. So I think it's like September 3rd will be the next one, if that's okay with everybody. So we can communicate online as per usual. All right, that is great. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, and see you soon after the break.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.